day. So let me introduce you to Priyanka. Priyanka is someone who has been with me. This August will be our 3-year anniversary of having worked together. There's a group, I think there's 700 and something thousand people in this group. It's women entrepreneurs that's online on Facebook. And one day I went in and I posted August 18th, I think it is. And I said, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. I need someone who's psychic so that they can understand me from the inside out. And a whole bunch of people answered. I think like 11 people answered, and I got back to 9 of them. And when I got to Priyanka, I said, are you psychic? And she said, nope. And I said, okay. And Spirit said to me, yes, she is. And it turns out that she's very psychic. So I said to her years later, what made you answer the ad? And she said, because I know people from the inside out. And she does. And she lives inside of my heart. She lives inside of my mind. Like, I don't even finish a sentence and she's got it done, like that kind of person. So she is one of the most important people in my world and I adore her.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Plus she knows where all the bodies are buried. So, she's got jobs here. Anyway, what I do is you can either give a man a fish or you can teach a man to fish. And so today you will see me giving a man a fish where I'm going to do an Akashic reading for somebody. And Priyanka's going to pick who that person is. So this is completely out of my hands. And if you don't get picked today, please feel free to come back another time. We do this a couple times a month. But what I really love to do is to teach people to fish, which is to teach you how to read the Akashic records. And another woman I want to introduce you to is Linda. Linda lives up in Canada as well. I believe, Donna, she's on the other side of Canada, though. And hello to you, Yvette. And Ethereal Rituals. What is your name, my love?
My name's Abby.
Hi, Abby. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So here's what I can tell you about the Akashic records. When I was 11 years old, my mom had been given a book by her friend Kathleen Unger, who is into all things like mystical and woo-woo. She gave her a couple books, but the first book that she gave her was The Sleeping Prophet about Edgar Cayce. And Edgar Cayce was a man who would go into a trance and he would go unconscious, and then a being would come forth and bring back information about the Akashic records. And it would be about people's past lives. It was about how to heal them. It was incredible, the information that came through. And I was fascinated. Now, my sister read this book too. One of the ways that he would heal people is he would heal them through nutrition. He would say, you need to take an apple and you need to bake it, or you need to eat banana, or you need to have coconut juice, or you need to find oil of smoke. And they would say, where can we find oil of smoke? And they'd say, there's an apothecary in Cincinnati. And they'd call the apothecary like a pharmacy, but a compounding one where they make things, tinctures and such. And they would say, oil of smoke, we don't have oil of smoke. And Edgar Cayce would say, have them go on the second shelf and behind the brown bottle. And then lo and behold, it would say oil of smoke in like handwriting that was like, really, really old. And a person would take oil of smoke and they'd be healed. So my sister ended up going into nutrition. And I said to her, why did you go into nutrition? And she said, because of the Edgar Cayce books that mom had us read when we were little. And at that time, it was like this was the early 70s. So it was like, let's see, Chariots of the Gods by Eric Von Daykin. It was The Seth Materials by Jane Roberts. It was Shirley MacLaine and, Don't Fall Off the Mountain and other books like that. Wasn't a lot of information. Now, you can't swing a dead cat around your head without somebody being a past life regression therapist or, reading the Akashic records or whatever. So one of the things I love, love, love to do is to teach you how to read the records for yourself and for others. And I also help people to open up their clairs, your psychic abilities, because the greater and the more wide open your psychic abilities are, the greater ability you're going to have in reading the records, being able to see in the records and hear in the records and feel in the records and know information. Some people even have the gift of smelling and tasting in the records. Unfortunately, I have those. So sometimes when spirit comes through, if it's my stepfather, it's going to smell like smoke. If it's my grandmother, it's going to smell like rose. But the harder one for me is the tasting, because some of the tastes that come through are pretty gross. Anyway, let's see what else. In 2017, I saw a girlfriend of mine publish on Facebook. Her name is Tiffany. And she said, I got trained to read the Akashic records, and I'm offering free readings because I have to practice. And I was like, oh my God. And I called her on the phone and I was like, Tiffany, please, please, please pick me. And she's like, okay. And she read my records. And it was such a confirmation of things that I had felt or known or understood, but here it was like, you know how you can tell when someone's telling you the truth, and you can definitely tell when they're not telling you the truth? Literally, like, it's the way that the energy comes towards you. It lands in a different way when it's the truth and when it's a lie. So I said, I have to get trained. And I said, how did you get trained? And she said, well, there's a woman named Linda Howe, and she wrote a book called How to Read the Akashic Records. And then from there, Linda trained this person, who trained this person, who trained this person. She was like 5 degrees of separation away. So I started following Linda Howe. And then I saw in January of 2018, she was going to teach a 3-month training on how to read the records. To me, it was outrageously expensive, but short of selling my cat for medical experiments, I was going to do this course. It's like $850. And to me, that was like more money I'd ever spent on anything, but I didn't care. I had to learn how to read the records. So there were 48 of us around the world on a platform called Learn It Live. That's exactly what Zoom is. A bunch of people on video, teachers talking, people are interacting, you can see each other, you can hear each other. And I came out of that. The very first time I opened the records, you say this prayer. Part of the prayer is said aloud and part of it is said silently. And when I opened the records the very first time, there were these beings, they were jumping up and down and they were saying, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. And I was scared out of my mind. So I closed the records right away. There's a closing prayer, you say. And I was terrified. I was like, what the heck just happened? So I reached out to Linda and I said, dear Linda, this is what happened. And she said, they're really excited to see you. Go back in, ask them to slow down. And so I was like, I opened the prayer. I'm like, the records are now open. Hello? Can you guys please calm down? And they said, beloved, we're very happy to see you again. We haven't seen you since Atlantis. I said, what are the halls of Amenti? And I had Googled it, and it was written in the book of Thoth, called the Emerald Tablets, that the halls of Amenti is where the Akashic records were kept in Atlantis. They said, you're a guardian of the records, and you're going to be teaching people how to read the records. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like it's too good to be true. Kind of like how I felt about channeling Magdalene. But, here it is all these years later. I have trained hundreds and hundreds of people. I have done thousands of readings and clocked tens of thousands of hours in the records. And my purpose in life is to give people access to their own soul's information, thereby coming to understand themselves as God, themselves and their relationship to God. Does that make sense? Spirit, God, Allah, Mufasa, like whatever you want to, whatever your version of, a higher self or spirit or Holy Spirit or whatever you want to call it is. But when you journey into the Akashic records, when you learn how to navigate that landscape, you have basically put your hands off of the rearview mirror of driving life at the rearview mirror, wondering why you keep having accidents because you keep focusing on the past. You take your hands off the rearview mirror, you put it on the steering wheel of your life, and you move forward. I teach people how to connect to aspects of themselves from their past lives, from their future lives, from simultaneous existences. All that is available. How to shift dimensions, timelines, everything. So that's my body of work. And the introduction to that is by doing these sessions. So you can get a flavor of what it is, who I am, how I work. I've trained a bunch of people. I have 4 students now who have gone off and are taking my materials and they're teaching them and making them their own. So that's one of the things that I love to do. I don't have a copyright underneath my materials. They don't belong to me. They belong to Spirit. They came through Hathor and they came through Jesus and a lot of other beings that I have channeled. So let's see. Priyanka, am I forgetting anything? That's it. I'm going to be teaching my next series of classes starting in August. It's going to be an 8-week training course. If you have any desire to do that, Priyanka can, drop the link later for that. What else can I tell you? I love what I do. It's my life's purpose. And it has taught me to open my heart in a way I never thought was going to be possible. And with your heart open, you can have everything. That's the one thing that Jesus is one of the beings that I channel. I tell you, if we want to clear a room, if somebody goes, what do you do for a living? Tell them you channel Jesus. And there's nobody around. It's the truth. I swear to God. But, you know, it's what I do. He's as real to me as you all sitting here on a, you know, Zoom on my little phone. What else? I think
Did
that's
you
it.
want to talk about retreats at all?
Oh my God. Retreats are one of my favorite things. So I'll just give you this little, here's what we're doing. There are locations in the world that when you go and when you walk there, it will ignite or reactivate memories for you. There are certain, like Paris is my favorite city in the world. I just got back from this trip to Egypt. I want nothing to do with Spain or Germany. And I had some past life healing I had to do regarding those countries. But we have 4 retreats that are coming up this year, 4 more, 4 in 2024, 4 in 2025, and 4 in 2026. Here. Priyanka, did I give you that list?
No.
Oh, I gave it to Alicia. Hold on, here it is. Okay, so we're going to Egypt in February of next year, France in June of next year, Sedona in September of next year, and Tulum in December. And then in 2025, we're going to Mount Shasta, Bali, Hawaii, and Peru. And then in 2026, we're going to Israel, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Costa Rica, and then England to go visit Stonehenge and Glastonbury. And right now we have a retreat to Egypt on the schedule for February. We're going back. And then we're going to be going to France to walk the footsteps of Magdalene next year in June. And then there'll be 2 other retreats coming up. So it's funny you should mention retreats because Wendy and I just spent like an hour and a half blocking everything out, coming up with the dates and the times for all that. And these are spiritual retreats. When you go there, you will have an Akashic, not an Akashic reading, but an Akashic healing. So right now I'm doing a journey of something called the Essene sessions, where we're going back in and we're finding people that have connections to the Essene community. And there's twice a week when I have people show up, and for free, I will take you into your Akashic records through an Akashic healing, and we'll go in and we'll find out what your connection is. And we meet at 3 on Tuesdays, and we meet at 7 on Thursdays, Eastern Standard Time. And there was a separate link for that. So I just had a woman who heard me on TikTok, and she came, and she was amazing. Oh my God. She turned out to be one of the guardians. She turned out that anyway, just magical. So, and then we have a playlist on Facebook with all of those sessions because we're going to be writing. So there's another book that's coming. The next book is called Channeling Yeshua, which is the name he likes to be called, not Jesus. Channeling Yeshua with the wisdom of the Essenes. Then, because I channel about 20 ascended masters, that book after that is going to be called Channeling Hathor, because she was the first one who came through in 1996, spiritually schizophrenic. And then the book after that is going to be Channeling Thoth, the Rise of Atlantis, talking about, you know, what happened when we were in Atlantis. And then there's another book that Alicia, another woman that Priyanka and I work with, are going to be producing. Hi, Catherine Weber. Can't see you, but welcome. So, okay, I think that's it. Anyway.
Ruby actually joined us from TikTok. She found you through TikTok, and she just commented that the Temple of Hathor has been calling to her for years.
Catherine, I was just there. It was a very, very, very interesting experience. We're on the Nile cruise, and Hathor comes to me and she says, you're not scheduled to come to my temple. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's on the agenda. So I reach out to my assistant, Alicia, who's with us on the trip. And Alicia says, oh, we just found out. Hi, Diana, welcome. She said, we just found out that actually we don't get back to Luxor until 5 p.m. And her temple closes in Dendera at 5 p.m. and it's a couple hours away by bus. And I said, well, then what are we doing the next day? And she said, we're going out to the Red Sea. And I said, oh no, let's cancel the first day at the Red Sea. And we're going to stay in Luxor, and we're going to go to her temple because that needs to happen. It would be more like me coming home to New York and not visiting my mother. I said, I'm not going to Egypt and not going to Hathor's temple in Dendera. So we make all the negotiations, and Hathor says, go online and find a place to stay. And I literally search places to stay in Luxor, and up comes this gorgeous house that can sleep 13, that can accommodate the group of us. And the house is called House of Hathor. So I reach out to the woman who lives in Switzerland, make the arrangements. We're brought to the house. They literally have like juices waiting for us, this gourmet meal. The house is incredible. And then the next day, they have a driver who takes us to Dendera, and we go to Hathor's temple. We're at Hathor's temple, and I feel drawn to go to this one room. There's scorch marks on the ceiling. Some of the temple, it's like 50 feet high, so they couldn't touch it. But in some of the rooms, there are scorch marks on the ceilings because the Christians tried to burn the temples. So I sit down in this room, and there's a woman on the trip. Her name is Matanya. And in fact, her art is what's on the cover of the Magdalene book. We hold the Magdalene book up. So this is Mary Magdalene as portrayed by Matanya. And the very first time I saw Matanya online, she was painting a painting, and it just happens to be in this room. And I reached out to her and I said, that's Hathor. Is the painting available for sale? And she said, I don't know that it's Hathor. I need to ask the painting. And I thought, oh, good, another weirdo who talks to inanimate objects. And this is the painting that I saw. Oops. So this is Hathor. And she comes back and she says, yes, it's Hathor. And yes, the painting is available for sale. And I was living in Virginia at the time, doing my year of channeling with Magdalene. So we make arrangements. The painting is shipped to me in Virginia. And then a few months later, I see her painting the Magdalene painting. And I say, hey, that's Mary Magdalene. And she says, I need to check with the painting. I'll get back to you. She comes back and she goes, guess what? It's Mary Magdalene. So we make arrangements for me to buy that painting. And then Jesus says to me, have her paint me. So I schedule for her to paint him. And that's a whole other story for a whole other book. But these paintings are going to be on the covers of, she's already painted Hathor, Magdalene, Yeshua. She's going to be painting Thoth. She's painted like 20 different ascended masters. So she and I go into the temples of Hathor, and I all of a sudden have light language coming out of my mouth. And then I start singing and chanting. And she is a classically trained coloratura soprano. So she starts singing, and the police come running in with guns blazing, saying, you can't sing in the temples. And I literally felt like my throat close up and like you're not allowed to sing. Because what had happened at the time of Atlantis was the crystals were programmed using the voice, and the crystals were what actually caused the flooding and the tidal wave that wiped out Atlantis. So there's been this thing throughout history for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, not to use your voice. Anyway, it was a very surreal experience. But if you're feeling called to go to Hathor's temple, know that she's calling you. And it's an extraordinary experience. I'm in love with a certain color of blue. The blue that's on my purse. The blue that's on my phone that you can't see. The blue that's on my little purse that I keep my keys in. And all over Hathor's temple is this color blue. And it's a blue ray that was used for healing, a color that's associated with Archangel Michael. Anyway, so all
when, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, so every time I think about the Temple of Hathor, I have this I don't know, it's kind of like a memory or just something in my mind that keeps telling me that there's like a tile, that there's something like hidden behind the tile in the hallway or something like that. And I'm like, it doesn't really make sense. But like I keep seeing this tile being like broken, and there's actually like a hidden little thing in there. Oh.
Well, after the police came by and the man looked at me menacingly, and I'm sorry, you can look at me menacingly, but in my world, I'm a New Yorker, so no one can push me off. Point. He looks at me and he goes, I am the police. And I said, I am an American tourist. Are you sure you want to pick this fight with me? And he completely backed down. I think he must have seen Hathor through my eyes or something. But all of a sudden they came forth and they said, hey, for 250 Egyptian pounds, we'll take you to the secret passage. And I'm like, pay the man. All I wanted was money. So we give them 250 Egyptian pounds and they take us to this place, and you go upstairs and there's so exactly what you're talking about. There's so much that's hidden within the temple that's not open to the public. I mean, you know, it's like, it's the Sphinx. The Sphinx goes much further. The pyramids go much further, and they just stopped. You know, they said, okay, this is as far as we're going to go, but there's tunnels that go down hundreds of feet. I mean, you go there and it's very, very clear that not everything is being shown, you know, kind of like what's happening in Antarctica. But that's a different topic for another day. If you're being called, you were a priestess at her temples. I promise you that. Abby, you definitely were. She's telling me right now. And, you know, maybe you might come with us in February, come back, because we learned a lot. There were some mistakes that we made and some mistakes that we won't ever make again, and some things that we learned and some things that we have to go back and experience, you know. But it was a life-altering trip, absolutely life-altering. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get on to you. So, Priyanka, I ask you to ask Spirit who it is that is meant to be read today.
Donna.
Okay, Donna, you're up.
Oh,
You okay?
wasn't expecting that. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm very open.
So, okay, good. So Donna, I need your full legal name, the way that you would sign a court document or your taxes, say.
Donna,
You pay taxes in Canada, right?
I'm actually a New Yorker, but I'm living in Alberta at the moment. So,
Oh my God, I love
so I lived in Rockland County, was born in New York City, that kind of thing. So my name
Yeah.
is Donna Jacobs.
Evan Jacobs. Okay, great. So I'm going to open your records. There's a prayer that I say, part of it is aloud, part of it is silent. You're going to see a change because I will be channeling as a trance channel your masters, teachers, and loved ones. Oh, I can already feel them coming in. And they change the way I look, they change the way I talk, they change the way I gesticulate, you know? And I want you to come up with 1, 2, or 3 questions to ask them. Questions about yourself, questions about your fears, questions about things that you're obsessed with, questions that you want to know from the past, from the present, from the future. Something that you would want your guidance to grant you the wisdom of, okay? So again, this prayer, part of it is aloud, part of it is silent. At the end, they will say, through me, the records are now open, and they'll greet you, and then you can ask your questions, and then it'll be over. And yeah, that's it. All right, hold on. They want me to change my position. I'm visiting my friend, and she has a fluffy gray cat. It's not that fluffy. It's actually more of a sleek gray cat. Sorry, Jack. Okay, so here we go. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, help me to know Donna in the light of the Akashic records, to see Donna through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Donna have for her. The records are now open, beloved. Beloved, we welcome you. We have invited you. There have been questions that have been heavy upon your heart and mind, and we would ask you to bring them forth that we may provide you with some modicum of wisdom, of knowledge, of understanding, so that you may move forward in areas where you have felt yourself hindered, shall we say. For your energy is meant to flow freely, but as of late, there has been some stoppage, has there not?
There has, yes.
We know things, indeed. So, beloved, we would ask you to bring forth your questions so that we may impart our love and guidance to you.
I wrote down one specifically because we all are born into this time, in this life, with a purpose and a contract. And I am having difficulty fulfilling mine. And I am walking, I am blocked by myself, I know. And I would love to lift the blockage and just surge forward and fulfill my destiny and contribution very strongly. I think of it constantly. I would like to have help and guidance using the Akashic records and your soul understanding. I also feel a wish to relate to my guides, many guides, and in all forms of life, so that I can draw on that when I struggle, because I'm a writer, but I'm also just a person struggling with people, things that we all struggle with. And I would just like to open my heart more. Less fear, much more love.
Indeed. Beloved, we thank you for your candor. We thank you for your vulnerability. We thank you for your authenticity in your phraseology. Understand that the ideas that come to you, that cause you to bring pen to paper, that cause you to type upon your devices, come from great wisdom that is inherent within you. But you are much like one who wishes to hear, but has put stoppers in one's ear. So we would ask you to begin a journey of being willing to hear and to listen to deeper truths. There have been some words that have been spoken to you that you knew were false, yet you accepted them as truth. There are times that you have not always spoken up and spoken out for what you know to be real. And let us say that this has cost you in your ability to trust yourself. You therefore find hesitation in your writing. Beloved, what we are here to bring to you is the sense of confidence yet again. See, you have had many incarnations, some 73, in which you have been a scribe. And for you to be able to delve deeply into your own wisdom means that you would need to be able to trust yourself, that what you know are indeed your words coming forth. And this is a place of struggle for you. You feel that your creativity is blocked. It is blocked in that you have, shall we say, turned a blind eye and a deaf ear away from it. Your guidance speaks to you constantly, chattering and chattering and chattering, but the deaf ears that it falls upon is where you do not trust yourself. So, beloved one, we would ask you to look at when was it that you decided, when was it that you chose and made a decision that said, I am not to be trusted, I am not trustworthy. What was the interaction that made you begin to doubt yourself? This is the inner work that is to be done. This is work that is indeed meant to be done through your heart. You can find the reflection in others, or you can take pen to paper and you can allow yourself to write. When did I stop trusting myself? When did I stop listening to my own wisdom? When did I stop believing my own words? And when you pop that cork out of that bottle, you will find that it will flow freely like an ocean. You will never have to worry again about the words that are to come forth in what it is that you are writing, or they will seem to faucet that you cannot quench. Beloved, this is a matter of looking at where you have committed actions that you believe existed outside of the lines of your own integrity, and you have not forgiven yourself. There were times when you needed to protect yourself, and there were actions that were taken that may have seemingly caused harm to another. Forgive yourself, beloved. Understand that indeed there have been contractual obligations on both sides, on both parties. Allow yourself to feel an affinity within your own soul for the relationships that you have had that have been difficult with your mother, with your daughter. There is a pain, there is a thorn that exists. There have been many cycles of incarnations where you all have run together, shall we say. When you can forgive these relationships, when you can forgive these dynamics, you will find that you will be able to trust yourself. When you live a life of impeccability, you will find that you will be able to trust yourself. And in that trust and in that knowing and in that wisdom, you will allow yourself to have success, which has eluded you because you feel guilty and you feel shame. And these are scenarios and instances and circumstances that are meant for you to reconcile within your own heart. And this is indeed done with the assistance of guidance. And you just merely need to learn how to communicate, how to listen, how to pull the wax out. And you will hear a popping noise. And in that popping noise, you will suddenly have access to hear what it is that is constantly being spoken to you. Does all of this resonate within you, beloved one?
I think I missed a word. You mentioned my mother and you mentioned another person that I was having difficulty with.
There is an energy of a daughter, or one that has a maternal relationship with you, that you have had incarnations with this being, and it is a troublesome relationship for you.
There is one, but it is a niece, not a daughter. And it's an ongoing heartache, honestly, yes.
This is the one, but understand, beloved, that she has been your daughter through many incarnations. Do you recognize the resonance of that energy in this dynamic?
Two.
This is a relationship that you must bring peace to. And you will. Of this we can assure you. Breathing into your heart will help you to alleviate what it is that you have held on to like a badge that you must wear. And indeed, you do not need to, beloved one. Beloved, allow yourself to feel with all of your heart the love and the support that is brought to you in this moment. Know that you are never alone. Know that there is always guidance here for you. And allow yourself to come to learn how to access this realm of information so that the healing may be done within. Follow the path of your heart, and you will never be led astray. We thank you for your time. We thank you for your attention. We thank you for your presence. We are here with you and for you always, beloved one, and indeed, we will speak again. Be tender and gentle with yourself. You go with our blessings. Greetings and salutations. This transmission is complete. Okay, now I say the closing prayer. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. Whew. How was that? Everybody looks really serious.
It was a huge gift. I didn't have a chance to thank them, but I will in my heart thank them because it was
They say you're welcome.
it was wonderful and true.
Good.
And loving. Thank you. I'm hoping that somehow or other I can reach them and they reach me, because I haven't been able to do that. I've been able to reach Mary and Jesus, but I'm not anybody else, particularly maybe Saint Francis or Saint Michael, but I don't feel like I'm receiving because I'm not open in some way, and I have been unable to open myself to all of those things that they speak of.
Well, you came to the right place because I have tools to help you do all that. And I know that you know that because of the work that Laurel's done with me. So we can talk more. You got the number, literally.
What did you say?
I said, you've got my number, literally.
Oh, that you mean the that website you allowed
Oh, my phone number, like you called me today. Anyway.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here and supporting and listening. And I'm so thankful to you, Priyanka, deeply thankful for you to have chosen me for this incredible gift.
She didn't choose you. Spirit did. She doesn't choose you. Spirit did. Spirit. Here's the thing I love about Priyanka. She still denies how psychic she is, but she's psychic as fuck. She just is.
Oh,
just the way that it is. She is literally given a name and it comes from Spirit. So there you go. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Again, if you weren't chosen today, please come back. I've had people come back many times and eventually they get chosen. So would love to have you back. Does anyone have any questions that we can answer at this time? I think Priyanka dropped in the link. I'm teaching people how to do this work. I teach so much. There's an incredible journey that's coming up with the 8-week course. It starts in August. It's going to go through August and September. And then I'll offer it again towards the end of the year. Teaches you 7 extraordinary techniques for being able to open all of your psychic abilities so that you can have these conversations, not only for yourself, but for others as well. And if you ever want to get trained to do any channeling, there's a woman that I'm working with. Her name is Wendy Gale, and she's going to be training people to do that. You know, there's some other things coming up. There's Melchizedek ordinations. If you have any connection to the Essene community, we're doing Essene sessions right now, where I'll take you into your past lives and find out if you have any connection to the Essene community. So all that's available. My love, that we should put that information about Tuesdays and Thursdays up on the calendar.
Yeah, I was just
So
going to talk to you about that.
No, I heard it. Thank you. You were in my head. She's so good. Anyway, I thank you all so much for coming, for being here. And yeah, please come back again.
Yeah, I dropped a link for the next masterclass so you guys can join for the next one.
Yeah. I do the master classes a couple times a month on Fridays. So you can always come back, and you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on TikTok, you can find me on Instagram. I'm not on Snapchat because it annoyed me and I couldn't figure it out, so I deleted it. And my niece and my nephew were like, Aunt Lynn, what are you doing on Snapchat? You're too old. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. But I do love TikTok. TikTok, wild west to me. But I thank you so much for being here. I say Shabbat Shalom to all of you, for any of you who participate. And I give you all the love in the world. And if you ever need me, just reach out and I'm happy to help you. Much love, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.